ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः।
चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापद्कमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं च
रूपं
श्रीसागरजातं
साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथं
साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगण रघुनाथ
कावितांश्च
हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश
गोपीश
गोपिका कांता
गोपीकान्ता
राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वानुसुते
विश्वानुते
देवी
देवी
प्रणमामि
परमामि हरिप्रिये कल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा मूकं
हरे
करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण
कृष्ण
चैतन्य
चैतन्य
ईश्वरं
ईश्वरम्
गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो
भक्ताय
नमः हरे कृष्णा
Krishna 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 Hare Hare
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama
राम राम हरे
Rama
हरे
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. So we have to start from 2.7. And this is the verse we just learned. So as I was saying before, this is the turning point verse in Bhagavad Gita because this is where Arjun finally submits to Krishna and accepts him as his spiritual master. So far, Arjuna was just getting overwhelmed. He was expressing his doubts, his confusions about this battle, about this war. He thinks there will be a lot of unnecessary bloodshed. And he was feeling compassionate. He was worried about getting sinful reactions. He was worried about not being able to enjoy the kingdom when all these people are gone. He was also worried about destroying the family tradition. So he was worried about the society, about this family of his, and was just feeling very compassionate and a kindness that was coming from a bodily platform. So we discussed all those things, all his doubts that he expressed to Krishna. If you remember, we stopped at 2.6. So 2.6, he expressed a fifth doubt, actually, a fifth confusion. So the fifth confusion, the fifth doubt is called indecision. Indecision means he said, I don't know what is better. Is it good? Is it better that I conquer them, or is it better that I get conquered by them? What will be good? He's getting very confused, very perplexed. He's very he's so confused that I cannot decide anymore. So that doubt is called indecision. So the four doubts were presented in the first chapter, and this fifth doubt is presented in the second chapter. After giving all his confusions, he's finally saying, I am not able to make a decision. So that is indecision. So since he's not able to make a decision on his own, he is seeking higher guidance, guidance from a spiritual master who's on a spiritual platform, who can take him away from this bodily confusion and put him on the away from the material platform, put him on the spiritual platform, who has a long-term vision. Because even Arjuna realizes that he's seeing things from a very short-term bodily viewpoint. He's only looking at the bodies of his relatives, and he's looking only at the bodily loss and gain. He's not thinking about the spiritual loss or gain at all. So that's why he realized that if I make a decision in this state of mind where I'm materially confused on bodily platform, I will not be able to make the right decision. So I should submit to a higher authority who is unbiased, who knows the best thing to do in this situation. So that's when he says this verse. So there were five confusions. Can anybody list the five confusions or the five doubts presented by Arjuna? Four from the first chapter and one from the second chapter.
I can, Mataji.
Yes, Ravi.
The first one is compassion heart. The second one is enjoyment. The third one is bringing sin or misfortune. Fourth one is destruction of family traditions like Kulakshaya. And fifth one is the indecent conditions.
Wow, amazing. You mentioned all of them and you even mentioned the Sanskrit for destruction
Oh,
of
yeah. Thank you,
family
Mataji.
tradition. Very wonderful, amazing. Okay, so and then fifth is indecision. Very wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. So yes, so that brings us up to speed to this verse 2.7. So let's look at this verse again. So 2.7 we just recited. Let's recite a couple more times. You can all recite with me so we can all continue memorizing. Let's start. Karpanya
दोषोपहता स्वभावः
Prachami tvam dharma
तन्मूढचेता
samudacheta
यच्छ्रेयः
yachreyasya nishchitam
निश्चितं
brūhi
ब्रूहि
tanme
तन्मे तेषां चातिमां त्वां
prapannam.
प्रपन्नम्
Once more. Karpanya
कर्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभावः पृच्छामि
pृच्छामि
त्वां
त्वां
धर्मसम्मूढचेता
धर्मसम्मूढचेता
यच्छ्रेयस्या निश्चितं
यच्छ्रेयस्यानिश्चितं
ब्रूहि
ब्रूहि
तन्मे
तन्मे
तेषास्तेऽहं
तिष्ठस्तेऽहं
चादिमां
चादिमां त्वां
प्रपन्नम्
प्रपन्नम्. So let's read the translation and we'll break down this verse. Who wants to read this?
Can read Mataji.
Yes.
Yes. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of misery weakness. In this miserly
Miserly.
weakness, in this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Hmm. So here the word karpanya dosh is very important, very significant word because karpanya means miserly. Okay, kripan is a miserly person. Okay, so he's not very generous. Okay, karpanya dosh. What does it mean in context with Arjun? We will understand this in a few minutes. But he's saying, I have this miserly weakness come upon my heart. Okay, upon my nature. Swabhav means nature. How has this miserly weakness come upon my heart? He understands that there is a weakness of heart that has overcome him. Prichhami tvam dharma. So I ask you, what is the dharma here? Prichhami means puchta hu, I ask you. So Prichhami is for I ask you. I'm just going to mute everyone. Prichhami means I ask you. You, tvam means you. I ask from you, what is dharma? And I cannot decide because my mind is confused. Sammood cheta means completely bewildered consciousness or confused mind, confused heart. Yet Shreya. Shreya word, please remember there are two words in Sanskrit. One is called Shreyas, other is called Preyas. Okay, Shreyas and Preyas. So Shreyas means long-term benefit and Preyas means short-term benefit. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can write maybe something here. So Shreyas means, can you see if I'm writing? Is it visible?
Yes.
So Shreyas means long-term benefit. Okay. So we should always think of long-term benefit. Okay. And prayers means just short-term gains. Okay. Materialistic people who are in bodily understanding, they only think of short-term gains and losses. Okay. They are only concerned with short-term gains or losses. So he is thinking from prayers platform, bodily platform, he's only worried about bodily gains and bodily losses, right? He's not so much thinking about the long term benefit or long term gains. It's like you can think of somebody who's overeating. He's not concerned about his long term health. Yes, today you may enjoy 5 laddus, but you will gain so much weight, you will develop this bad habit of eating so much sweets, you will destroy your teeth. So he's not concerned about those long term losses or long term benefits. He's not concerned about his long term health and how his discipline will be destroyed, how his health, his teeth, his body will be destroyed, how he will feel so sleepy after eating so much sugar, will not be able to be energetic rest of the day. So he's not worried about those long-term things. In short term, he's just worried about eating 5 laddus. So that is called prayas. But Arjun wants to know what is Shreya for me. What is, sorry, I don't know how to do this. Okay, he's confused. What is Shreya for me? What is best or long-term benefit for me? Nishchitam means for sure, for with certainty. Bruhi tanme, you tell me. Okay, bruhi means you talk to me, you tell me. Shishyasteham. Aham means me or I. I am your disciple. Mam tvam prapannam. Prapannam means मैं आपको surrendered हूँ. I am given to you. I'm a soul surrendered unto you. So since I'm a soul surrendered unto you, I'm accepting you as my teacher. I am your disciple. You tell me what is best for me, what is in long term the best thing for me to do. So that is the meaning of this verse. Now let's read Prabhupada's purport. I don't know how to erase this. But who wants to read next from the purport? Okay, here we go. Can somebody read the first paragraph?
Hare Krishna, I can read.
Yes, Mataji.
By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore, it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Hare
Very good.
Krishna.
So Prabhupada is taking this opportunity to stress on having a spiritual master, on a spiritual guide. Because if you're in confusion, and so first of all, Prabhupada is saying that every step in this material world, there is confusion, there is perplexity. So this is one thing to understand. At every step, there will be danger in this material world. You will be confronted with some or other problem on which you will need guidance. Okay. Now, then Prabhupada is saying, there is no perfect answer. If you're looking from a material viewpoint, you will not get a perfect answer. And that is why people become anxious and fearful in this material world, because they are trying to find material solutions to a material problem. Okay. So if you know this very famous quotation from Einstein, Einstein once said that we cannot solve a problem with the same mentality that created it. So if it is a material problem and you try to tackle it with material solution, it will not work, because material solutions tend to be very superficial, very temporary. They are not permanent solution. Okay, they don't satisfy the soul completely. So a soul who is stuck in this world, who's facing so many anxieties and confusions and perplexities, when they need guidance, they should get spiritual guidance, because soul is spiritual. Material guidance or material solution will not work in the long run for a soul. So that is why we have to approach a spiritually elevated person for guidance. Okay. So when you have confusion in this world, if you approach another person who is on bodily platform, he will just, it's like he पेड़ से गिरे और कुएं में, something like that, right? कि so मतलब कि you will get into another problem. So if you find a material solution, you will only find another problem. You will only create another problem instead of finding this permanent solution. So if you want a solution, you should approach somebody who has a spiritual vision, who has a long-term vision, who can show you the shreyas instead of prayas. Otherwise, Bodily oriented people will divert you from one prayas to another prayas, from one short-term gain or loss to another short-term gain or loss. That is all bodily oriented people can do. So we may have many well-wishers in this world, many, there are friends, there are relatives that we may seek guidance from, even some teachers. But if they're on bodily platform, if they don't have proper vision, proper long-term understanding or spiritual understanding, then they will only guide you in another, or from one wrong path to another wrong path. Okay, so that's why Prabhupada is saying one must approach a spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master who is supposed to know everything. Meaning, everything means who's supposed to know the reality separate from illusion. He should know that we are not part of this material world. He should know that we are a spirit soul. We are a spiritual part and parcel of the Lord. We do not belong to this world. Then he will be able to give you the right guidance. Then, so we should approach a spiritual master for such type of long-term understanding. Okay, that is the purport of this verse. So let's keep reading, and I'll just mention a couple of important points that Prabhupada talks about. Let's see what kripan means. We'll come to that. Please read next paragraph. Who wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In Brahad Aranyaka Upanishad 3.8.10, the perplexed man is described as follows: Yova etad aksharam gargi aviditvasama lokat pratisa. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who thus quits this world like cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is a Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize this body to solve all the problems of life. Ya etad aksharam gargi vidit vasamal lokat praiti sa brahmana.
Very bold. So this verse, Prabhupada is giving us the definition of kripan. Okay, so karpanya word, where did that come from? Why is, because this is very weird, right? Arjun is calling himself miserly. If you think Arjun is being very generous here, right? He's ready to give up the whole kingdom. He's ready to sacrifice the war. He's ready to leave the battlefield and go take a begging profession, Prabhupada says. He's ready to take up the begging profession. He's ready to become a renunciate. And let these people enjoy the kingdom. So that seems very generous. So why is Arjun calling himself kripan or miserly? So there are two words, and Prabhupada is giving us the reference. This is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita as it is of Prabhupada, that Prabhupada gives us references from so many Upanishads, so many, so much vast Vedic literature that we do not have access to. So he has found the definition of kripan and Brahman from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So, I mean, we do not have access to that. So that's the beauty of reading. Prabhupada does not say anything without giving proper references or citations. So it's a very scientific book. Like when I write, papers for our in medical field, I'm writing proper citations, proper references. There is a list of references provided. Why am I saying what is the incidence of obesity in USA, or how many women are affected by this, or what is the most common cause of obesity, whatever. I give citation or reference for that. Similarly, whatever Prabhupada says, it's such a scientific book, this Bhagavad Gita as it is, that Prabhupada gives citation or reference for each, everything that he mentions. Any new concept that he brings in, he gives us a reference. So this is where in Vedic literature I'm saying this from. So Prabhupada is saying, yes, you understand in bodily terms, we say that somebody who's very generous, that is who gives his wealth, right? That's a very generous person. But why is Arjun calling himself Kripan? Because in Sanskrit, there are two terms, Kripan and Brahman. Kripan is a miserly person, basically, because he does not know the value of human life. Let me ask you, what does miserly mean? Kanjus kya hota hai? Somebody who has money and yet does not spend it on the right things, right? That's a miserly person. He will dress up in very, bad clothes, or he will not spend money even on his family. He will not give money even to his relatives who need it. He will not give anything to charity in the society when they need it. So he's very miserly, meaning he has the resources, he has the wealth, he has all the facilities given to him, yet he does not use them for a benefit of himself or other people. Similarly, in terms of self-realization, kripan or miserly means refers to a human who has been given human body, who has all the resources of a human body, all the facilities, amazing intelligence and speech and discrimination power, all the facilities of human body, yet he wastes it in sense enjoyment, or and does not achieve the goal of life, does not use it for the higher purpose of self-realization. He wasted the facilities, the wealth of human life, the property, the facilities of human life that were given to him. That is why he's a miserly person. So you have this wealth. So here wealth is not referring to money or property. It is referring to the wealth of human body, to the resources provided to the human body that this person neglected to use for his own benefit or for the benefit of others. That is why he's kripan. So that person is called miserly man. On the opposite hand, Brahman is that human who has human body and he uses it for self-realization for himself and for others. So he guides other people. He's a learned person who guides other people in the religious principles of life. So he helps them to reach the goal of life, and he himself also practices those principles and reaches the goal of life, solves the problems of material life as well. So that is why Kripan and Brahman are two terms used in Sanskrit in our Vedas to refer to a person who does not use the resources of human body, versus a generous person is Brahman, a very learned person, generous person who knows the difference between spirit and matter, who knows what is our purpose, goal of life, and uses the human body for that purpose. So that is the difference of Kripan and Brahman. Okay. Please pay attention to these are important concepts of Bhagavad Gita. This is uh, you know, inevitably, if we're reading Bhagavad Gita, we should be very familiar with these concepts. So that is why Karpan Arjun is saying, I have this miserly weakness has come upon me because I'm only thinking of short-term gain, bodily gains and losses, which means I'm not doing good for myself or for others. So that is a miserly person who neglects to do best for himself and for others. Okay. So he's only thinking of the body of these people, but actually, if you think about it, he's harming these people if he runs away from this battlefield. We have discussed that point. Let's keep on reading the last paragraph of this verse. Who wants to read? Yes, ma'am.
The Kaparna, just small item. Okay. The Kripanas or the miserable people, persons waste their time in being overly affectionated for family, society, country, etc. In the material conception of life, one is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members on the basis of skin disease. The Karpana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripanas think that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the cause of his perplexity. Although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still, on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and the disciple are serious. And now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita. And Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself. And yet, foolish, mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person but to unborn within Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without, and one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. Haribol.
Bol. Thank you, Mataji. So I'll just mention 2 points. I think you all understood the point about Kripan or Karpanya dosh, okay, and versus Brahman. So practically everybody, if you think about it, is Kripan. They're wasting their valuable life, their resources, their time in this human life, which is so precious. So everybody's Kripan. And with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, all of us are trying to raise themselves from the platform of Kripan to Brahman. Okay. So we also have Karpanya dosh. We also are very much attached to the family, to the society in which we live, or to the country in which we are born. So we are also very much on bodily platform, and bodily identifications are the most important to us. But we are trying to rise up from that, from Kripan to Brahman platform. Okay, so that is why whoever learns this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, understands this and applies these principles of Bhagavad Gita, will actually be a true Brahman. Okay. So that's one point I wanted to share. Secondly, Prabhupada is saying that this verse is important because here there is a change in tone of Arjun. Arjun is now going from casual talk to a formal tone. Okay, he's taking a formal stance with Krishna that I'm now accepting you as a recognized spiritual master. So like you will not talk nonsensically with your guru. You will be talking very formally. You will present your doubts properly. You will ask for instructions and services and guidance. And so it's not a casual talk between two friends anymore. So he wants to stop friendly talks, meaning he wants to go from a casual to a formal relationship between a guru and shishya. Okay, which is a relationship of respect and discipline and awe and reverence is there, right? So that is what he wants now. He does not want a friendly relationship right now. He wants to, because he knows that he needs some serious help. So he's saying to Krishna in this verse that I need some serious help. Hmm? And then the last point Prabhupada is talking about, this is a little difficult to understand, but the main thing is Prabhupada is saying we should read and understand Bhagavad Gita as Arjun understood the Bhagavad Gita, which means just like in this verse, he submits to Krishna as a person, we should also submit to Krishna as a person. What that means is, please understand, this is a subtle point, please understand this. Bhagavad Gita is important. It stands above and beyond rest of any literature in this world because it is coming from Supreme Person Krishna, because it is a Parushya. Other books are composed, written by ordinary people of this world. Any motivational books, self-help books, they are written by people that have faults, because to err is human. People are erroneous, they have faults. So when those people write books, it's okay. We can accept some understandings from them, but not, we can take it with a pinch of salt. But Bhagavad Gita, we accept completely because it is a Parushya. It is not coming from Purushas of this world. It is coming from Supreme Person. It is Bhagwan Uvacha here. Bhagwan is speaking. That's why this is so important to us. Now, if we just submit to Krishna as an ordinary person, if we think he's just some Mahatma, some king of that time, then Bhagavad Gita loses its relevance and importance, okay? Its significance. Its significance is in the fact that it is spoken by the absolute truth, by Param Satya, by Parmeshwar Purushottam Bhagwan has spoken it. That's why Bhagavad Gita is the fundamental basis of our life, of our human life. So this is what Prabhupada is saying, that when you understand Bhagavad Gita, submit completely to Krishna, as understanding that Krishna is the supreme person, okay? Not to the unborn within Krishna. Unborn within Krishna means like that Krishna is some ordinary person who has accepted this role as as some Mahatma or something like that. So Krishna is a supreme person. When he comes here, he does not stop being Bhagwan. He never takes up any ordinary material body. He's not an expansion or anything. He's the original supreme personality of Godhead, like we were discussing last time. So that is what we have to understand. All the expansions, all, whether it's Narayanas, Vishnu, everybody comes from Krishna. Millions of Narayanas, 3 Vishnu avatars, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, and the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. They all come from Krishna. The 4 expansions, the Chaturvyuhas, they all come from Krishna. Lord Balram comes from Krishna. The energies come from Krishna. So he's the supreme cause of all causes. He's the source of all sources. This person is whom Arjuna submitting to, not any ordinary person of this world. And that person, and from that person, we are hearing this Bhagavad Gita. So understanding that, we should read this Bhagavad Gita, giving it that importance, that it's spoken by not the voice of this world, but a transcendental voice, a transcendental knowledge coming from the spiritual world, from the source himself. The same voice that gave knowledge to the heart of Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikave. So he gave knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji. This is the same person. Let's keep reading, then we'll take some doubts and questions after a few more verses. Let's read next one. Nahi prapashyami mamapanutyad. Nahi prapashyami
mamapanudyad.
Yachokamuchoshanam indriyanam. Yachokamuchoshanam
Indriyanam
avapya bhumavasaptanam riddham. Rajyam Suranaamapi Chadhipatyam.
Rajyam Suranapi
Adhipatyam.
Okay, please read the translation and part of the purport. Who wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Purport. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on knowledge of the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Sri Krishna. He could understand that his so called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc., are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can be given only by a spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious is the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. Lord Chaitanya said that one who is a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is the real spiritual master. Kiba Vipra Kiba
It goes
Nyast.
like this. Keba Vipra Keba Nyasi Shudra Ke Nenaya Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Sei Guru Haya.
Okay. Shall I read, Mataji?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
It does not matter whether a person is a Vipra, learned scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in a lower family, or is in the renounced order of life. If he is a master in the science of Krishna, he is the perfect and bona fide spiritual master. Chaitanya Chaitanya
Charitamrita.
Charitamrita Madhya. So, without being a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, no one is a bona fide spiritual master.
You
It
can
is
just read this translation.
okay.
Prabhupada is quoting many Vedic literatures, as you can see. He keeps quoting from different areas, Padma Puran, Chaitanya Charitamrit, so much Prabhupada quotes. Yes, Mataji, read the translation.
A scholarly Brahmana, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of a lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava or Krishna conscious. Padma Purana.
Very cool. So I think we can we'll skip rest of the purport because this is where Prabhupada has made this point, and he's saying the same thing in the second paragraph also. I'll tell you about it. So here basically Arjuna is saying, Arjuna submitted to Krishna and he's saying, I have no other way to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. And I will not be able to dispel it, meaning that all these doubts, all this confusion, all this grief that has come over me, he's grieving, he's crying, he's tearful. So this, I will not be able to dispel this grief even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom. He really does not want to win this kingdom at the cost of all these family members and teachers and grandfathers and relatives, etc. So he said, I do not want all of this because I'm feeling so much grief and I will not be able to enjoy anything if I kill these people. So, so Arjuna has given so many arguments. Okay, then Prabhupada is saying that he is trying to solve this problem with the help of spiritual master, and that is the best thing we can do. So whenever one is in a very big moral confusion, and a lot of times the confusion, we discussed this before, is between a lower dharma and a higher dharma. It's not like we are, good and bad. We are fighting between good and bad necessarily. A lot of time it's just between shades of gray. We don't understand what is the perfect thing to do, right? So lower dharma and higher dharma mostly conflict. So when you are confused between two types of dharma, the best thing to do is to approach a spiritual master. And Prabhupada is saying that such a spiritual master is one who has the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Academic knowledge, material knowledge of various sciences of this world will not help, right? Because those are bodily sciences, like let's say rocket science, or somebody is an atomic physicist, or somebody is a astronaut, or somebody is a lawyer, or even a doctor, or even a teacher, of this world. They have just bodily knowledge or the knowledge of the material sciences, how to manipulate the various elements of this material world. That will not help you. That kind of teachers will not help you. You need a spiritual master like Lord Krishna or a representative of Krishna who knows how to solve the real problems of life through spiritual knowledge. And Prabhupada is stressing on this point that it does not matter what family one is born in. One can be born in a Shudra family. It does not matter what their status or their ashram is in their life. Are they sannyasi? Are they Brahman? Are they Shudra? Are they Raja? Are they Praja? It does not matter. Those designations don't matter. And we have plenty of evidence of this in Srimad Bhagavatam, that those designations are of no value when the real devotion, the love in the heart, the real knowledge in the heart is concerned. Because the knowledge, this wisdom, this knowledge that we are learning in Bhagavad Gita, this enters in the heart of a person. That's why Krishna said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavye Muyanti Yatsuraya. He says that even the biggest sages and demigods are confused and bewildered. Even they are not aware of this knowledge. But I give this knowledge within the heart of devotees like Brahma. So the knowledge is given within, knowledge enters into the heart of devotees. It's not something you can learn just mundane tarike se, like you understand the material knowledge. And no, you have to make your heart very receptive. You have to have faith in Krishna like Arjun has. That's why we have to develop this attitude of humility, this submissiveness, this faith, this confidence that Krishna can solve my problems. And then the knowledge is given by Krishna in the heart. That's why it's called living wisdom. This is living, breathing wisdom. Okay, it enters into the heart. Okay, so it does not matter what one's bodily position is. A teacher is one who knows the science of Krishna and who can convey the science of Krishna in that same mood to the disciple. Okay, so one should not accept just based on whether somebody is a Brahman or has a very reputable position in the society. No, none of those things matter. Are they connected to Krishna? Can they connect me to Krishna? That is the only answer you need. Are they connected to Krishna, and is their intention to connect me to Krishna or not? Or are they fulfilling some kind of getting some kind of selfish gain, personal gain through whatever they're doing? But if they are going to connect me to Krishna and they are themselves connected to Krishna, they are themselves representative and a true servant of Krishna, then that person has the right to become a bona fide spiritual master. That person can become Jagat Guru. But it doesn't matter what they are, Vipra, a learned scholar. They may know all the Vedic literature, but if they are arrogant, proud, if they're lording it over the world, if they're using it to make money, then that scholarship does not matter. Okay. They may be very lowly in terms of worldly position. They may not have any reputation, name, fame in the world. But if they are the ones connected to Krishna and their intention is to connect me to Krishna, to put me in the service of Krishna, then that's a bona fide spiritual master. So this is the guidance to us, because we are not direct, we don't have direct access to Krishna like Arjun does here. So the question can come, what should I do? Arjun has Krishna as his chariot driver. I don't have a chariot driver. Who will drive my chariot? Who should be guiding me? Who should I submit to? Who should I surrender to? So I should surrender to a spiritual master who himself is a servant of Krishna and a true representative or devotee of Krishna, whose intention is to put me in the service of Krishna, not just a mundane scholar who just knows the verses but does not know their application and their principle. Um, so that is the that is the correct spiritual master. So we should know who is the right spiritual master, and we should learn from Arjun how to submit to a spiritual master with faith, with humility, with confidence, with submissiveness. Ask the guidance from the right person. So you need both to be correct. The teacher needs to be right, and the devotee, the disciple needs to be right. Both have to be right for the change to happen, transformation to happen. So this is, so we'll go to the next one, 2.9. I just want to cover a couple more, and we'll stop another 10 minutes. Sanjay Uvacha Evam Uktva Rishikesham Evam Uktva Rishikesham
ऋषिकेशं
Gudakesha Parantapa
गुडाकेशः परन्तपः
Nayotasya iti Govindam Nayotasya
नायुतस्य इति
Govindam
गोविन्दम्
Uktva Tushnim Babuvaha Uktva Tushnim
तस्मिन्
Babuvaha. So Na Yotsya iti Govindam. This is a very famous line. Na Yotsya iti Govindam. I will not fight Govinda. Here Krishna Arjun says. Let's read this. Who can read? Please read the purport as well. Please continue reading so we can finish on time.
Yes, Mataji. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, charioteer of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Purport. Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjuna was not going to fight and was interested leaving the battlefield for the begging profession. But Sanjaya disappointed him again in relating that Arjuna was competent to kill his enemies, Pran Paran Tapaha. Although Arjuna was for the time being overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, as a disciple. This indicates that he would soon be free from the false lamentation resulting from family affection and would be enlightened with a perfect knowledge of self-realization or Krishna consciousness, and would then surely fight. Thus, Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated since Arjuna would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end.
Very bold. So just couple points. I will not stop on this too much. Basically, he's saying Arjun said, Govinda, I shall not fight. Na yotsya iti Govindam, and fell silent. So now he's going to listen to Krishna. So just 2 points here. Rishikesh word, I think you understand. Rishikesh is used for Whose name is this, Rishikesh? And who can tell me the meaning?
Krishna Mataji's name.
We had a good question on this.
Krishna.
Rishikesh is
Krishna, what is the
Lord
meaning of
Krishna.
Master of all
Master of senses.
master of or controller of senses is Rishikesh. Then another word is used, Gudakesh. Whose name is Gudakesh?
Arjuna.
Arjuna,
Aditya.
Arjuna. Perfect. And what is the meaning?
I think
Conqueror of
ignorant,
sleep.
who sleeps.
Conqueror of sleep.
who's
Ah.
conquered sleep or ignorance.
Conqueror of sleep or ignorance is Gudakesha. And then Parantapa. Parantapa is whose name? Parantapa is whose name? Also Arjun's, okay? So Parantapa is also Arjun's name. The chastiser of the enemies. Chastiser of the enemies. So this is a little bit sarcastic here because Arjun is supposed to be chastising the enemy. And here he's decided not to chastise the enemy. He's decided not to take action against the enemy. So Parantapa is chastiser of the enemy. So this great chastiser of the enemy is choosing here not to perform his duty of chastising the army. So enemy. So you see how that is a little bit sarcastic, right? It's not. So this is the problem here. Arjun has been called to perform an action. He's called to duty, and he's ignoring that call to duty because of short-term bodily difficulties. That is why Krishna called him impotent before. You know, you're acting in a impotent way, or you're acting in a with hriday dorbalyam, weakness of heart. So when somebody calls you to do something that you're capable of doing, and yet you don't do it, that is a weakness of heart. Like somebody calls me to, let's say I'm capable of performing some medical treatment, and they call me, but I don't go because, oh, I have to sleep, or I have to some bodily difficulty, whatever, you know, I'm not feeling up to it, I don't feel like going, whatever. So that is a very, so you've been called to act, called to you perform your duty, and you're just thinking of some bodily short-term difficulty. So that is weakness of heart. So we should have strong heart, right? So this is a weakness of heart. And Krishna also said Shudra mentality. He called it Shudra mentality before. Shudra mentality kya hoti hai? Shudra means low class people, which means people that are on bodily platform, people that are not trying to elevate themselves to the Brahman platform, that are not trying to elevate their to the self-realized platform. They're just in bodily understanding, just short-term understanding. So they don't understand themselves as the spirit soul. Okay, so they are in illusion, in confusion. That is Shudra mentality. So he calls in many things. I'm just reminding you of all the things Krishna called him: weakness of heart, Shudra mentality, impotence. And so this is like a namesake Kshatriya. Our Acharya says this is like Brahman. If a Brahman does not teach, even though he has the knowledge, will that be namesake Brahman? That is just namesake. You have the capability of doing something, yet you're not doing it. You have the capability of chastising the enemy. These enemies of religion, you should be chastising them, yet you're not chastising them. That is miserly, and that is a namesake only. You're Kshatriya only in name. That's not right. If I don't do my duty, I'm a doctor in name only, right? I'm a teacher, or if I don't respond to my call of duty, that is namesake only. So Parantapa is very significant because he's ignoring the duty for which he has been trained and skilled, and he knows this is the right thing to do. He's making excuses, basically, declining a very important call to action. Let's keep reading. A couple more. 2.10. Tammuvacha Rishikesha. Tammuvacha Rishikesha. Prahassan iva Bharata. Prahassan iva Bharata.
Bharata.
Senayorubhayormadhe.
Senayor
Senayorubhayormadhe.
मध्ये
Vishidantam idam vacha. Vishidantam
Vishidantam
idam
idam
vacha.
vacha.
Okay, please read this.
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to grief-stricken Arjuna. Purport. The talk was going on between intimate friends, namely Rishikesha and Gurukesha. As friends, both of them were on the same level, but one of them voluntarily became a student of the other. Krishna was smiling because a friend had chosen to become a disciple. As Lord of all, he is always in superior position as the master of everyone, and yet the Lord agrees to be a friend, son, a lover for a devotee who wants him in such a role. But when he was accepted as the master, he at once assumed the role and talked with the disciple like master with gravity, as it is required. It appears that the talk between the master and disciple was openly exchanged in the presence of both armies so that all were benefited. So the talks of Bhagavad Gita are not for any particular person, society, or community, but they are for all, and friends or enemies are equally entitled to hear them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is straightforward. So when Krishna heard Arjun's submittance, surrender to him, he was smiling. And Senayor Abhayor Madhye, we have read this phrase in first chapter also, 20, verse 21, when Arjun said that, please take my chariot in the middle of the two armies. So in the midst of both the armies, Krishna started speaking to Arjun. And Prabhupada is again emphasizing on the fact that now Arjun has moved on from being a friend to being a devotee, a disciple, a student of the Lord. And this, Prabhupada is also saying that this talk between the two, this dialogue is meant for everyone. This is not just between the two of them. So nobody can say that so-and-so person or gender or race or caste or color cannot read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a book meant for everyone. It is not only for Hindus. It's not for only for, let's say, sannyasis or brahmanas or for Vedic scholars. It's a book meant for any age, any gender, any caste, any color, any race. And we should not impose any restrictions on anybody who wants to come in touch with Bhagavad Gita and read and learn this knowledge. Because this knowledge is not about this is for humans. That is why Krishna keeps saying bhuta, like sarva bhuta maheshwaram. He never says that Hindus, or he never says only men, purusha. He says for everyone. This is for all living entities. So I'm the Lord of all living entities. So actually it is meant for all living entities, but humans have been given the intelligence to understand this knowledge. So Prabhupada is saying this talk is for not for a person, any particular person, society, or community. So nobody should restrict themselves. We should read it, hear it, recite it, narrate it, teach the principles, learn the principles, apply the principles for us, for others, in whatever style, whatever way we can convey this message to the people. We should do that. And that was the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, that take this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to the English-speaking world. That's what Prabhupada did. Other point to understand here is that now Arjun is completely safe, because he was feeling weakness of heart before. He was feeling this miserly weakness, but now that he has added Krishna, he will get all solutions, all answers, all guidance will be provided. He will at once get the strengthening of the heart. So as soon as you add Krishna to your solution, to your problems, if you're trying to answer problems with material solutions, you cannot rely on them. You cannot rely on external things or people, even on your own qualities and efforts, because all those things are not enough. Without Krishna, anything does not have deep anchor. Everything is very fickle, and that can be lost or taken away. So any material solution does not give you permanent solution. That's why you need Krishna to give you strengthening of the heart and to give a permanent anchor to find all the solutions to the bodily or material problems. So let's see what Krishna will say. Now Krishna will chastise Arjun. Let's read this also, and then we will stop. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Bhagavan Vacha
Ashochayan Anvashocastvam. Ashochayan
Asocaya
Anvashocastvam.
Anvasocasvam
Pragyavadamscha bhashase.
Pragyavadamscha
Bhasase.
Gatasun agatasumscha.
Gatasum Agatasum
Nanu shochanti pandita.
Nanu
Shochanti
Sochanti
pandita.
Pandita.
This is also a memory verse. Many of you might already know it. But Krishna is saying, ashochayan, something that is not for shok, or your something that is not worth lamenting, you are lamenting about it. He's very strongly chastising Arjun here. Okay, this is a very strong he's reproach by Krishna to Arjun. Okay, so he's chastising Arjuna that you sound like a very learned person, but actually you are speaking very low class things. You know, you are, despite being so wise, you are saying all wrong things. You are not a truly learned man. You are only posing like a learned man. You're speaking like a learned man, but you are not wise at all. You're quite foolish, acting very foolish. Okay. So what does he say? Please read.
Can I read?
Yes, please.
The Supreme Personality of God had said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Purport. The Lord at once took the position of the teacher, and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, you are talking like a learned man, but you don't know what that one who is learned, one who knows what is a body and what is soul, does not lament for any stage of the body, neither in the living nor in the dead condition. As explained in earlier chapters,
Later chapters.
Sorry. As explained in later chapters, it will be clear that knowledge means to know whether and spirit,
Matter and spirit.
matter and spirit, and the controller of both, Arjuna, a controller of both. Arjuna argued that religious principles should be given more importance than politics of sociology. And he did not know that knowledge of matter, soul, and the supreme is even more important than religious formularies. And because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have posed himself as a very learned man. As he did not happen to be a very learned man, he was consequently lamenting for something which was unworthy of the lamentation. The body is born and is destined to be vanquished today or tomorrow. Therefore, the body is not important as the soul. One who knows this is actually learned, and for him, there is no cause for lamentation, regardless of the condition of the material body. Hari Bol.
So, Krishna is starting with the first lesson here. The first lesson is, please hear very carefully. The first lesson of Bhagavad Gita is the knowledge or differentiation between matter and spirit. Okay, I've highlighted this. Between matter and spirit. Okay, what is body and what is soul? This is the first lesson, and on this, Krishna will expound further details of what is matter and what is spirit. What is the difference between the two? This is the first thing we have to understand. So can anyone tell me why is Krishna saying you are acting like or speaking like a learned man? What did Arjun do to speak like a learned man? What is sounding so learned about Arjuna's speech so far? We have discussed this a little bit. If you have understood the mood of Arjun, you understand what sounds very, it sounds good. It sounds very nice, whatever he's saying. What was that? What were all the things? Any
Hare
qualities?
Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
He was showing compassion and he was saying that because of the war there will be a religion and all that, and
Right.
so he shouldn't fight.
Yeah, he was sounding very compassionate and kind, right? Learned people are kind and compassionate. So he's acting like he's very kind and compassionate. That's very advanced position to be forgiving. He's ready to forgive all that has happened in the past and just leave. So he's sacrificing his own gain. That is also a very advanced position. Willing to sacrifice your own enjoyment and your own gains, and letting other people enjoy. That's very, very forgiving, very tolerant. Very kind, compassionate, very forgiving, tolerant, sacrificing. What else? did he do or say to act like a learned man? Puja Mataji, you want to mention anything?
Uh, Actually, Mataji, I would like to add that he seemed very virtuous and all-known person to Krishna, that he is the true one to get all the gyan of the Bhagavad Gita by his qualities of which are mentioned as four doubts in the first chapter. He seemed to be very virtuous and very person with the all learned qualities. So that's why I could think that he
Right.
was a
Right,
learned
right.
man.
Yeah, so we're acting very virtuous. So some of the virtues we mentioned, right? Values, very nice values. We should have those values of forgiveness, tolerance, patience, sacrifice, kindness, compassion. All these he's showing. But also, like Mataji mentioned, Shalja Mataji also mentioned, worried about irreligion. He's worried
Yeah,
about,
Mataji, I would like to add that he was taking time actually to come to this conclusion to fight actually. So a learned man only introspect and speculates all the things, all the conditions beforehand in or before reaching a decision. A learned and well settled man in his thoughts and minds, he thinks a lot before taking a decision. So Arjuna was taking time before he was finally convinced of the help he was about to get from Krishna to make a decision to order to fight.
right.
That's
Yeah,
what.
Mataji, yeah, all good qualities, right? Taking time, introspecting, contemplating on the consequences of your actions. That is very wise thing to do. To contemplate on the consequences. Shouldn't just launch into action. Should think about the good and the bad, the benefits and the losses. And he's talking about sin, accruing sinful reactions. He's talking about religious principles also, that there will be irreligion in the society. These people's families will be destroyed. So the children and the women will face consequences of not having a maintainer in the family, destruction of family tradition in the community, the traditions and the culture will be lost. Elderly people will be destroyed in this battle, so there will not be any elderly guidance to the families and communities. We will get sinful reactions. So he's saying very wise things, right? All those doubts, basically, they're all wise doubts only. They're not. He's not. He's speaking like how we would even think to speak. So speaking like a learned man, yet Krishna is chastised. So this is learned. And then Prabhupada says very nice things, that even though he has presented many religious principles, Arjuna argued that religious principles should be given more importance, that I do not worry about, I do not care about political gain. Even if I don't get this kingdom, even if my brother does not get to rule this kingdom, that's fine. So he's giving it more importance than politics. It seems like he's upholding the religious principles. So that seems very nice. He's trying not to destroy, kill people unnecessarily. If they don't need to be killed, I don't want to kill them. So it seems like he's protecting people. He's not killing whimsically. So he's not acting whimsically, like you said. He's acting very thoughtfully. He does not want to destroy lives unnecessarily. So he's giving that. Those are the religious principles, and he's giving them more importance than the political gain. Very nice, very learned. So, but again, Prabhupada is saying, better than those religious principles is the knowledge between matter and soul, meaning self-realization. The platform of self-realization is beyond this dharma, beyond this religious principle. This is a lower dharma. Okay, this is a lower dharma. The knowledge, because there is no, he's not showing any spiritual concern for himself or others. He's not thinking that this will bring a lot of spiritual destruction. He will get sin for not giving justice to these people. He will get sin for not fighting this battle as a Kshatriya. He had the capacity to destroy the violent, aggressive, criminal people, yet he did not take action against them. So he will get sin for that. Secondly, these people will continue with their sinful life. These people are on a wrong path in this human body, and they need to just stop this journey in this human body and go on to other journey, right? If they die on this battlefield in presence of Krishna, they will actually get liberated. They will actually get heavenly planets. Any Kshatriya that dies on a battlefield in a religious war, remember, this is not a war like these days. The wars these days are not religious wars. These are religious. This was a religious war, a dharma yudh. which means there is a proper code of conduct. So ऐसा नहीं है कि if somebody is taken prisoner, they are, like these days when in wars, when somebody is taken prisoner, the prisoner of war is tortured, tormented like anything. That is not, they had proper code of conduct. You cannot fight with anyone who is below your rank. You cannot fight, a rathi will not fight, maharathi will not kill rathi, like things like that. You cannot fight anyone who's unarmed in the battle. You cannot fight someone who's not on a chariot. Somebody who surrenders to you in the battlefield, you will not harm them. There were rules. So that is a religious war. There are proper rules and they are followed to the letter. That is a religious war. In such a religious war, if a Kshatriya dies, no matter which side they were, they will get a high destination. They will get heavenly abodes or a higher destination. So he is not paying any spiritual concern to himself or to others. He's only thinking of the bodily gains and losses. He's not concerned about the real self at all, as if he does not understand the difference between the real self, the spirit, soul, and body or the matter at all. That is not a learned person. A learned person knows the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita is the knowledge between matter and spirit. Arjuna does not seem to understand the difference between matter and the real self or the spirit. That is the problem. A learned person knows what is real self. Arjuna is not concerned about the problems that will happen to the spirit souls here, to the real self here. He will get problem himself, and all these other people will also be in trouble if he does not fight this battle. So he's not concerned with real self, and that is the problem here. So this knowledge of matter and soul, my friends, this is the first understanding of Bhagavad. This is the first step of self-realization. Understand you are not the matter, you are not this body, you are a spirit soul, you are a spiritual spark that pervades this body. Without the soul, the body is inanimate object. It's a dead body. Once the soul leaves, the body is dead. It has no function, it cannot do anything. Only the soul, when pervaded the body, can cause this body to act, and soul uses this body as a vehicle. Body is just a vehicle for the soul to go from one place to another. If you misuse this vehicle to go to a wrong place, then there has to be justice. There has to be some consequences of that. And these people are misusing the vehicle given to them for wrong thing. They are going to, जैसे road पे बहुत सारे vehicles जा रहे हैं. If one car starts driving in the opposite direction, you're supposed to go in a very fast lane. Highway पे ऐसे जाना है, बहुत तेजी से cars जा रही हैं on a speed of 80. And then suddenly the other car starts coming on the speed of 80 in the opposite direction. It will cause mass collision on the highway. So this vehicle needs to be captured by the police and pulled over. They need to take their license away, and then they need to be brought to justice. They need to be punished. Similarly, these people are going in a wrong direction with the vehicle that has been given to them. They're causing problems for the society, and if they are allowed to rule, it will be a problem. So that's why this war needs to happen, because we are not this body, we are the soul, and in this journey we have to do through this body we have to do the right thing, and this is the right thing for Arjun. So that's why he's right now on a wrong path. So this is the understanding with this verse. Why Krishna is chastising. I just want to read the next. I just want to recite it. We will not read it. And the next verse we will be learning next time. I will just recite it. Please just recite it and we'll stop. 2.12. Natva evaham
एवं जतो नाशम्
atvam neme janatva na chaiva
जनाधिपा न चैव
sarve vayam
विश्यामा
ataparayam.
वयम् अतः परम्.
Okay. Actually, this is not the one I wanted you to memorize. I'm sorry. I wanted you to memorize this one. Next time we'll memorize this one. Please recite after me. Deino asmin yatha dehe.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे
Kaumaram yauvanam jara.
कौमारं
Yauvanam jara.
यौवनं जरा
Tatha dehantara praptir.
तथा
Dehantara
देहान्तरा
praptir.
Praptir
Dhirastatranamuyati.
Dhirasthranam
So I'm one verse short of it, but that's fine. We'll discuss this one next time. Please remember, please start memorizing this one for next time, 2.13. And next time also we will spend first few minutes, 15 minutes or so memorizing that verse 2.13. But we finished at 2.11 today. 2.12 is also a memory verse, but that's okay if you we'll go to 2.13. 2.12 we'll just discuss next time and memorize 2.13. We finished at 2.11 today. Please discuss any questions, comments, or any realizations you have. Thank you. Anybody wants to share anything? So who will share their takeaway lesson from today's discussion from 2.7 to 11 we discussed? Any key point, takeaways?
For me, I like look for the not looking for the short-term benefits, look for the long terms, and the long-term benefit is like for your spirit, for the soul. Is not like this bodily matter, what is matter, like what we usually think about that, not look for the big picture, what's the soul is going to be, what we'll do, which is gonna be, uplift our soul, not coming in. What's like main purpose is like not coming back and go back to supreme personality of Godhead, So it's like doing more and more and more and more what much we can do to just reach there. And whatever the path we need for that, we have to follow that. It's not like thinking is, and it's not that easy, it's hard. So but we have to do that. We cannot just go in the this think more about this material world, what is our relations and how is it going. Is sometimes things are not good in the world, so we don't have to just think about that and leave our spiritual life in there. We have to separate them definitely way, different way, we have to keep this material world in a different way, because it's a body thing we have to follow for until we in this body, but still we cannot leave the path for going, the spiritual life. We have to more success on there. We need that.
Yeah, we get hung up on short-term things. We get stuck with short-term quarrels, conflicts, and then things in the world going on. We just start hearing all this news and start becoming fearful. So you said rightly, it may be hard to follow the spiritual path, but it is much harder to stay in this material world because that gives you so much fear, so much anxiety. But as soon as you add Krishna, actually suddenly all the fear, all the anxieties are lifted away. So it is much harder to stay in this material world. It's a very dangerous place. It's a very embarrassing. We often say this. It's a very embarrassing position. It's not a good place for gentlemen and gentle ladies to be. So thank you, Mataji. Who else wants to share?
Mataji, I love this point that we have to rise ourselves from Karpanya to Brahman, and for that we have to stay in the right association of the devotees, because it cannot happen if we do it by ourselves. So I really love that point, to rise above Karpanya to come to Brahman, which is not easy, but we can try.
Again, it's easier than doing things in the material world. It takes a lot of effort to do things in the world also, right? If you have to graduate from school, college, so many things, so many things you have to do, so many hoops you have to jump through. Actually, spiritual life, it's not nearly as difficult at all. It's pretty. Prabhupada has especially given us a very straightforward process. Chant the names, eat prasad, read scriptures, and stay immersed in stay connected to Krishna one way or the other, and it gives you joy. It gives you so much joy. So I find that actually it's. But yeah, thank you, Mataji. From Kripan to Brahman, we have to expand our consciousness from Kripan to Brahman. Kripan is a Shudra mentality, somebody who wastes their human life, who is misusing the human life in sense gratification and other short-term things, and not utilizing the resources, facilities given for the correct purpose. So they're using this vehicle to go to the wrong destination. So they will not get there. We've been given this vehicle to drive to a certain place. Let's all go there at full speed.
Yeah. I want to say something, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
I love today that when you said that most times there is a confusion between lower and higher dharma, and when you are morally confused, we should always approach to a spiritual master in that condition, not to an ordinary person who is well connected to Krishna and who can put us to the service of Krishna. We should seek the help and guidance from the right source. That uh, the main point I learned today.
Mataji, that is a very important point actually, because we go to wrong people for guidance, and then they have their own perspective, their own limited intelligence, their own limited viewpoint, and all from bodily. They may have their own agenda also, even though they may be our best well-wishers, but they don't have, if they don't have long-term vision, they cannot guide us properly. So very important point you mentioned. I really like all of your takeaway points. Sometimes you all mention just one point, but today you're giving all different points. I really like that. Thank you. That's wonderful, because that summarizes the whole discussion very nicely. And for me also. Thank you. Shalja Mataji, you were sharing something?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I just wanted to share, thank you for the, unraveling so many of these secrets. Like, I had never thought miserly as the way we understood today about miserly, and how a miser is different than a brahmana. That kind of a distinction, I had never thought of it that way. It was beautiful. Like, where miserly is not utilizing the resources that we have in the right way. It is not just not utilizing stuff, not just hoarding. Because I thought my perspective of miser was somebody who hoards things and not uses it. But it's a different thing to think that it is not used the right way. And then the brahmana who is selfless and engages his resources in self-realization and for self-realization of others. That's just beautiful. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Prabhupada, thanks to Prabhupada, he has mentioned that point with references from scriptures,
Yes.
Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad and whatnot.
Yes, Haribol. This properly explains that one should go to the spiritual master rather than wasting time on his own perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master, and so that he can get the proper guidance. This is the main aim of this thing.
Yes. Also hoarding it, Mataji, is in a way that he's hoarding it because remember that जैसे कोई कंजूस है of this world, miserly person. If he does not spend that money, it will all go to waste after his death, right? It will all that will be gone, destroyed. He never used it. He could have used it to enjoy or to have a big house. He had all the money, but he just let it sit in the bank account and then it all went to waste. He could have used it to do some charity. He could have used it to help his friends or relatives or society, but he never used it. He just let it sit in the bank. So it just went waste. In this way, humans have been given this life, but we just wasted all that intelligence. So it is said that we should give, that's why we should give the best part of our life, the best time of our day, and best skills. Actually, everything should be given to Krishna. But at least that's why, it is said, some people say you should take up this process in old age. No, you should take up at young age because you need to give the best part of your life to Krishna. Just like we give best part of our day to Krishna, you should wake up and do chanting in the morning because that is the best part of the day. You should give your best skills, your best talents, your whatever resources you have, best of everything to Krishna. Make that is the best use of our property, of our possessions, of our positions, of our whatever powers, whatever positions, properties and possessions we have. Sorry, too many P's. Property, power, possessions, whatever we have, all that should be, best of that should be used for Krishna. Ideally, all of it, but at least the best of it. So, so that's another understanding. Who else wants to share? Any other points? If not, we'll stop.
Mataji is not related to this class, but I wanted to ask one thing. in one class you said like, you guys, we wanted to know how to schedule our timing, prioritize the things, that kind of class you had. And I think the Feb, and you says like, how do we do the, the scheduling the things, how we manage like this life, and this we give more and more on the spiritual way. If anytime, like if you want to do that kind of class, we'll do that.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Sure, Mataji. Yes. Plan for sure. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Definitely. Anybody else? Any reflections? Hiral Mataji or Chetan Prabhu? Anybody wants? Neil anyone? Not, we'll stop. Okay, that's fine. We'll stop. Thank you everyone for joining. Vancha kaltarubhischa kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Krishna.